All right, guys, we got a special guest for this interview today. You guys tend to love the final impressions. Of course, you like the first impressions as well. But this video is going to be awesome with the real South Africa. Please enjoy. All right, guys, we are super lucky to have Erica from Canada. She's a Jamaican, of course, so you'll hear the accent, but she's going to be with us during the whole process, especially this video, of course, because it's her video. And then, of course, we have a book available, so go to our website, The Real South Africa, if you're interested. It's really good. Now, this is where we are. This is where we're having this great interview. So we just kind of wanted to bring you the sights and sounds. This is what Erica saw, and this is what you're going to see if you decide to book with the Real South Africa. Like I said, we are a travel and tourism company, but we also want to bring our own story to you. So we want you guys to see and hear everything that we do. So we will see you inside the Real South Africa. And here comes Erica.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Latasha Blanton from The Real South Africa, and I have with me today Mrs.
Erica Johnson.
I think she forgot.
and the Mr.
Mark Edward Blanton.
And today we're just going to have a quick conversation with Erica. She is down to her last couple of days, and we're just going to have her recap some of her adventures since she's been here, some of her thoughts, and just some closing remarks that she'd like to impart upon you as some of our listeners and watchers. And if this is your first video, thank you so much for watching. If not, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And of course, always follow The Real South Africa. So we're going to start with Mark. First question for Erica.
I don't have a first question for Erica at all. No, I actually do. Obviously, you've been here for a little while. What would you want people to know? Because you made a comment earlier about people don't know.
Oh, right, yeah. First thing that I want people to know is that they need to have an open mind. Get rid of the preconceived notions of what you think something needs to be or what something needs to look like. If you're going to do a trip like this, open your heart, open your mind, and just come. Because, this has been an exceptionally good experience for me. Like, if you don't do it, you won't know, right? You have to jump in, be fearless, and do it, right? Apart from being fearless and just doing it, I think we all owe it to ourselves to travel. Like, I've traveled a little bit, and every country that I've been to has taught me something different, right? Coming to South Africa has kind of raised the bar for me because I will say that, yes, I had preconceived notions of what it could be like, and what I've seen has certainly surpassed my expectations. Preconceived notions are out the door. Like, no more, because when you come in at the airport, the OR Tambo Airport, there's a sign that says, "Welcome to the land of possibilities." This is that has been proven to me. There are possibilities here. Like, so I've been staying in Johannesburg for the past 3 weeks, and first off, Johannesburg is an amazing city. Like, architecturally, structurally, it's really, as we would say back home, it's lit. It's quite lit.
Yeah.
Fantastic architecture. You can see that a lot of technology has gone into building this city. And as Mark said to me earlier, what I'm seeing now is kind of somewhat recent. Like, Johannesburg has seen an explosion, maybe.
Yeah, a big explosion of people moving here and it becoming the leader. And as far as what goes on in Africa, normally starts here in Johannesburg.
It's very evident. Like, a lot of major companies are here. BMW, for those of you who love a BMW has a plant here, so they make the cars here. Toyota has a plant. What other company?
Volkswagen.
Yeah, right. I've also, so if you guys saw my previous interview, you'll know that I'm in healthcare, and I've seen a number of the big players that I work with. Novartis is here, Sanofi is here, I think GlaxoSmithKline, I think I did see their offices as well. Those are very big names in the pharmaceutical industry, so that's thriving. That's definitely thriving here. I've seen General Electric. I saw a huge corporate office, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, Google's here.
Yo, it's big. Yeah, it's all quite big.
Yeah, everybody's here. Yeah.
So if I had a message, it would be come with an open mind, or open your mind to the possibilities that exist in South Africa. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure these possibilities are going to be increasing because the big names are already here. Corporate companies are paying attention. I think they're probably using Johannesburg as a springboard. Yes,
because as you notice, people that's been here for a while, Pretoria and Johannesburg were kind of separate. And now they're becoming twin cities, like, Minneapolis, St. Paul, stuff like that, because there's so much happening here. Some of the big accounting firms are here, Price Waterhouse. Everybody's here. So there's a reason for that.
And the reason would be?
Well, I would say that, the weather, for one, the weather is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I think that, the ease of doing business here in South Africa is another thing. We have actual, infrastructure, which is the road system. They have the train system here. We have several airports here. We have OR Tambo International Airport. We have Lanseria Airport, which is more regional, but it's an airport nonetheless. And then there's a bunch of smaller airports like Grand Central. And then, so there's just a lot here.
A lot going on.
Even though Johannesburg is landlocked, South Africa isn't landlocked. We have several ports. We have the largest port on the Indian Ocean right here in Durban. I feel like I'm giving a dissertation on
because there's so much.
Yeah,
right?
But there is so much, and then of course
it
Cape
exists.
Town.
Yeah, people might say, well, how can it be? Well, what I have come to understand is that collectively, South Africans want to see South Africa thrive.
100%.
Yeah.
I will make the point that, yes, there is a very horrific and sordid history, which we will not deny, which we will acknowledge as a source of strength, as opposed to being something that has broken us. Like I always say, we don't die, we multiply, right?
Yeah.
So what I see, though, collectively on both sides of the divide is that South Africans collectively want to work together. They want to see this grow. There's a young, his name is Penuel the Black Pen. And
what's his name again?
Penuel the Black Pen. He's from South Africa.
I wanted you to say it so people can hear it and they can like, what did she say?
Shout out to Penuel the Black Pen.
There you go.
He's a young fellow. And when I started watching his YouTube videos and listening to the podcast, he had a concept, he had a theory, a thought that don't knock what the colonizer has done. Learn from the colonizer and work with the colonizer. And it kind of didn't sit so right with me initially.
Fair enough.
But now that I am here and I see what collective effort can do, I'm not saying that we need to discard our past and forget where we're coming from, because if you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where you're going to go, right? It's a directional thing. So if you don't kind of keep that in the back of your mind and say, okay, this is what happened in the past, let it be a guide for going forward. So low-key, I'm just going to say you can't trust them people, but you can probably work with them. It's not anything different from when you're in your place of business or your workplace. Not everyone's gonna like you. You're not gonna like everyone. But at the end of the day, you want that paycheck.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you want to see that business thrive. You want to see that home thrive. You want to see that country thrive. So the point is collectivism. Am I saying it right?
That's I
like it.
I like that.
I like
what
it.
I just said. But it's working together and not really destroying what has already been built.
True.
And I think South Africans want to see this place continue to grow and thrive because it's beautiful.
It is.
It's so beautiful.
I will add to what you're saying. One of the biggest things is that a lot of South Africans, a lot, not all, there's never going to be an absolute in anything, but a lot of South Africans know that they're not going to be able to do it by themselves. And so they're looking for those in the diaspora to be part of this in some way, like in your way. You couldn't have known what you just said. You couldn't have known this unless you got on a plane, came here, spent a little bit of time, had conversations outside of us and whatnot, because right now she's sharing, and found this out for yourself. Now it's real to you.
Yeah.
And now you can kind of, if you want to be part of this journey of South Africa, now you know which way you need to turn, which way you need to move.
What lane you need to get in,
right.
like who you're going to work with. Not to cut you off, honey.
Sure.
But you said enough stuff, prior to us sitting here and having a conversation and now that says you have clarity. You have clarity.
Yeah.
And you know what strategy you're going to put in place. So tell me a little bit about that aspect and like how you got your clarity.
Okay, so I will say this, that if anyone is really giving it serious thought, if it's even just for a vacation, I will say shout out to the Real South Africa team. It has been a fantastic trip, thoroughly, properly organized, like very well organized. I think all of the goals that I set coming here, they have been met. And to answer Latasha's question, they are so organized that they do have a team that can guide your thought process. Now, as I said to Latasha earlier, structure is very important to me because anything else is chaos, and chaos just doesn't work for me, right? But structure is really going to be important if you are in the diaspora and you want to move to Africa, or you want to move to China, or if you want to move to Russia or whatever. Structure is important because otherwise your efforts aren't going to bear the fruit that you want, right? So that being said, I was introduced to a team through Latasha and Mark, a team that could guide my thought processes. And one thing that's really very important if you're going to come here as a member of the diaspora with the aim to settle, you need to know where you fit in, right? It's not just about walking with whatever money you have. The money alone is not going to get you to where you need to be. You need to have an idea of your 5-year plan. Like, what do you want to see in 5 years after having moved here? Like, within 5 years of moving here, what do you want to see for yourself? What do you want to see for yourself in 10 years, right? And then you move accordingly and you engage the right people. So, like I said, I was introduced to a team who was able to give me some good information. And one very key tip or point is whatever skills you may be bringing, make sure that they kind of fit into the South African government's wish list. So the kind of professionals or skill trades that they want to see coming in, because of course everything will be about growth. And you don't want to waste your money. You don't want to come with your 2 cents and then throw it out into the universe and say, okay, I have 2 cents, do something with it. No, it has to be structured.
Yeah.
It has to be structured. So that's one thing I learned. So for me personally, like, I'm in healthcare, but I've been in healthcare for over 30 years. That's 30 years too long.
I think you said that in the last video.
Yes, I did. So
30 years too long.
So I actually do mean it. So for me, I'm going through the midlife crisis. So at this point you say, okay, what else is it that I can do with my life? What's my purpose? That universal question. Why am I here?
Yeah.
So that being said, now that I have an idea of what the South African government wants, what the South African government would prefer to see, I see a career change in my near future.
Wow.
Oh.
And I'm only going to say wow because we had a small conversation and I said to you, just based on some things we were talking about, that maybe you need to do what I did, which is give up what we identified with.
Yeah. You sure did.
I mean, I had to give up my identity as a physio to go into tourism.
Yeah.
And you have so many other gifts outside of pharmacy. We chatted and know that. So it's like you are here and you're like, I might need to go into my actual gifts.
Exactly.
And go along that passion route and actually, but that's what South Africa did for me too. So I totally get it. I'm glad that you found it on your own.
Right.
Even when we were having conversations on the phone before you got here, I kept thinking to myself, she's going to get here and she's going to find something else. She's going to find something else. So I'm thankful that that you see it for yourself, and midlife crisis or not, you have a strategy and a structure and a plan, and I'm excited for what you're going to do in the next 5-10 years. I'll still be here, God willing. But I do know there's going to be a growth, and I know you have value that you can add to the country, and South Africans are going to be happy to see you come and collaborate with them on other projects, because we do add value. I mean, your perspective as a pharmacist does not just have it's not just about pharmacy. Like, you have other experiences that you can that you can speak to. So hats off to you for getting that clarity.
Right.
Well, I will say to you, it's clear, like I say, sitting in the U.S. or sitting in Canada or even at home in Jamaica, thinking about, the possibilities, what else is out there. A lot of us like to jump online, look on the internet and say, well, let me see. It doesn't give you a full picture. So would you say jumping on the internet, looking at what's available, did that give you a full picture?
It did not give me a full picture. It's a tip of the iceberg, actually. I think, so technology, grasping technology, accepting technology is going to be important moving forward. But you still need to do boots on the ground. You still need to get to where you need to be physically there to see, if it's even just to get a vibe.
Yeah, and it's not hard to get a vibe here.
Yeah,
it's not hard. Yeah, you be vibing like immediately.
Like South Africa is so sweet, man. Like, one thing that there are three things. Three things.
Let's go for it.
Let's do three things. The food's amazing.
Yeah,
okay.
Can't beat
you
that.
You want a proper steak? It is here.
It is here.
It is here. And then, what I found really surprising, but I really have mad love for it, I appreciate it so much. South Africans have a respect for R&B music. Like, we all in the state. All right, so I'm a woman of a certain age. That's a term, right? So I'm a woman
same age as me, by the way, which is good.
I'm a woman of a certain age. So forgive me if I'm not really with it. But I have 2 young people in my household, so I'm slightly with it. The music, the quality of the music that we've been producing of late is really subpar. I will not apologize for that. It is subpar because I'm coming from the 80s, the 90s.
Real music.
South Africans have an appreciation for that music. Like, they are so into R&B. And of course, there's South African house, and there's, of course, the Amapiano. It's like the gods are happy here with regards to music, because all of it's here. There's jazz, there's R&B, there's, like I said, the Amapiano, there's the house, the South African house music, amazing music. I'm pretty sure if I dug deep enough, I'll find heavy metal here, and I'm sure that
it's somewhere.
I'm sure the gods are happy with that.
Yeah, too. I don't know where they put it at.
My point is that they have an appreciation for music, and it contributes to their vibrancy. They're so vibrant, like it.
So you like the people here as well?
I love the people.
Yeah, I've always said, to me, I always say shout out to the South Africans, because, most of the people that come here, they have, like you said, preconceived notions. I've read this, I read that, and me and Tasha, we hear it a lot in the emails and on the phone. I've looked up this and that. They're doing their best that they can.
Yeah.
And I apologize to you, but we kind of ignore you in some ways. But we listen to your vibration, and we can hear
what it is you're
what you're
actually
talking
looking
about.
for, yeah.
And so we give you something. You're like, well, I really wanted to. Okay,
It'll
fine.
work out, I
And then you
promise.
come here. You come here, and then we get the, I see what you were
okay,
saying.
yeah.
And so obviously you're here and you're seeing it, and it's kind of hard to convey it to someone who doesn't know you.
Yeah.
Hopefully some people will relate to you. Maybe there's another pharmacist out there that's in this that got 31 years in and say, I've been 31 years too long.
31 years.
Yeah, or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just basically us telling our story, and we need to tell our story to our people so they can hear it. And if they hear it, it might resonate with them to where they might, take a leap of faith and say, you know what, I'm going to go to Africa. Again, people who've been watching us for a while know, yes, I'm going to advocate for South Africa, because if I can pretty much, manage your trip to get here,
right,
we could take care of everything for you like we did for you, where you don't have to pretty much worry about anything.
Not at all.
Yeah, he said that like with the quickness.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you forget number 3.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Number 3 is very important.
Okay, go ahead.
Because this is a global message for our people. South Africans pay close attention to their relationships. And when I say relationships, I actually mean romantic relationships, but I also include the familial relationships in general. So that respect of the elders, right? That respect of the aunties, the uncles, the cousins, yeah? But in particular, the romantic relationships. I'm pretty sure that no one can deny that we're having issues as a people, especially in the West. There are too many single-parent homes. There's too many black women without a black man, and too many black men without a black woman, and there's so much back and forth, and it's escalating. This is the problem. It's escalating, and it signifies disunity, and we do not need this right now. This is the last thing that we need. We actually need to be unified. So that being said, I notice that South Africans tend to really want marriage. They tend to want that union. They tend to want that family, that closeness, because without it, they're so much weaker. Without it, we're so much weaker. So it's so important to start to restore our relationships. And this, of course, starts with all of us individually. You start with yourself. You fix what's wrong with yourself. It is what it is. Like, I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Fix what's wrong with yourself. Do you first. Fix yourself first, and everything else will flow. It's simple. It's not rocket science. But again, we preach and preach and preach and preach.
Well,
and preach.
but it's funny. You talk about the familial of the family. Like in the States, in particular. I'm not sure about Canada. I'm sure it's probably the same. But like when we run into problems, we look at law enforcement to fix it. We look at the family courts.
Yeah.
No, not particularly the church. We go to family court.
Okay.
It's family court.
Okay.
It's family court. They do have a family court system here, but it's not something that people use as, okay, well, I'm mad at you. Or as a solution. A lot of it is family. It's their families. It's the respect. They go home, they talk to their families, they talk to the go-go's, to the grandmas, and their families, and they solve things that way.
Right.
And that's how things ultimately get done. I mean, it might be a little bit, I would say it just makes more sense. Those that have been on the other side of the fence as far as dealing with, like with the family courts, that right there leaves pain in itself.
Unnecessary pain.
Complete
and
unnecessary.
Spending unnecessary money when you can just have a family gathering, cook up some good food and just sit down and keep those tempers in check.
Yeah, but that's how that works here, from what I understand, for the most part, and so forth. Okay, but obviously there was a reason, like I said, you came. I think you might have mentioned it the first time, for you coming to South Africa. Now that you've been here for a little while, overall, what would you say is your final impression of South Africa?
South Africa is a beautiful country with beautiful people, and it will continue to grow. It will continue to thrive. There's no stopping South Africa at all.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. Like, none.
Yeah.
It's going to continue to grow. And this would be the message for the diaspora. Africa is a good destination. If you feel that you need to move, because as I said in my previous video, things are getting a little shaky.
Just a little bit.
So if you feel that you need to move, you can definitely consider South Africa as a destination. But do your homework. Contact Mark and Natasha. Ask for guidance. Do it right. Don't make any snap decisions. Don't move in panic. Don't move in fear. Because South Africa needs strong people. It needs people who are fearless. People who will understand that, yes, there's a horrific past. That if you're not careful, it can repeat itself.
Yeah.
So you just need to be strong of mind, strong of will, and fearless, and come boldly to build a country that has boldly faced its past and is boldly moving forward. That's the message. Just be fearless.
Yeah. I we get like I said, we get a lot of calls, and for the same reasons you're saying. Oh, it's getting a little bit hectic on this side, or in the U.S. as we like to say. And we tell people all the time, just like you did. You came here as a tourist. You didn't come with part and parcel with all your stuff, and you were just here trying to figure it out. Because I'm going to be honest with you, that's not a good way to do it. It's not. South Africa has many avenues to get here as a resident, temporary resident. And I'm going to say the temporary residency and all the other stuff comes through a thing called tourism. I mean, that's how they see it here. You might not see it that way in the United States or in North America, but that's how they see it. You come here as a tourist, you ultimately fall in love with the place, and then that will motivate you to say, okay, as you said, I may have to change my whole situation to be here. And I think you feel that if it worked, it would be worth it.
Definitely.
So, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm really happy that you came through us and you trusted us. In this journey. And we don't take it lightly, or your story or anybody else's story. We had a young lady who just sent us a message that says, I want to come in for 90 days and make sure if I can get a bathtub so I can do my nightly soaps, and and it's funny, she'd been here before.
Yeah.
So this would be her second trip here. A lot of our people have been here 2, 3, 4 times. We don't always interview people. I mean, you're very kind to share your opinions on what you see here. And one of the things is like everything that you said, South Africans are looking at this saying, you know what, yeah, we did that.
Right.
Yes. We did that.
Yeah.
And so they're very proud. So whatever you may think of South Africans, is you think about it when you're like on that side of the earth. But when you come here, you need to be kind, and you'll find out that you'll find a group of people that's been like, where you been?
What took us long to get here?
Yeah.
We're waiting on you for 25 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So has anybody picked up your accent at all since you've been here?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Actually, when we went to Soweto the one day, there's a young man trying to sell me a bracelet, and I low-key really didn't have the money, didn't really need the bracelet, and I lapsed into the Jamaican, and then I stepped away, and this other fellow comes running up, are you from Jamaica? I'm like, yes. And he's like, my family is from St. Mary. He heard the accent.
Wow.
He was also a vendor, and he came running up, he's like, yo, are you from Jamaica? So
That's crazy.
They heard the Jamaican, and they also heard the Canadians.
She was like, I slipped way down into that.
So at the end of the day, like it's, to me, it's still baffling to this point that there's so many of us on that side of the world. It's a lot less, it's more Africans than there are people in the diaspora. And we come here and we act like, well, not say we come here, but we sit on that side and act like we don't know these people. But we literally act like we don't know them. But I mean, and just in your time, didn't it seem like there's a lot of familiarity and a lot of things you saw and a lot of things you do?
Yes. So to be honest, there's many times when I felt like I was back home in Jamaica. Because here's the one thing. Right now, South Africa has started their spring. You guys in the Northwest, you're having winter, but ugh, I think yesterday it was 33 degrees or something. It's getting pretty hot. So that familiarity of climate plus just the mannerisms,
people out and just like flowy,
just the mannerisms, the vitality, the vibrancy, like you said, the flow, like
it's just a flow.
It's just a vibe. It's just how we be, right?
Is that proper?
That's how we be.
It ain't even proper. But we're a people full of life and vitality and vibrancy. As I said to Mark and Natasha earlier, don't get it twisted. Understand, currency is another word for money. Currency is current. It's flow. It's electromagnetism. It's the flow of water. It's the flow of atoms and electrons in your body. You know what I'm trying to say. It's just flow.
Mm-hmm.
We are flow. We are currency. We are the money. We were talking about the value of the black dollar. Mm-hmm. And we need to wake up and understand that we are money.
Yeah.
Well,
all of our energy.
One more time for the people in the back.
We's the money.
I'm sorry, y'all.
He's the cash people, so we need to step up and use that cash wisely. Use your energy wisely. You can't give your energy to any and every person and any and every project. You have to fact check it all.
Yeah.
Fact check
and
it all.
Use some discernment.
Yeah, use your discernment. And as we were talking earlier about whether or not I got enough information from what I saw on YouTube, and I'm a researcher. I research everything. I'm an academic, so I just research everything. And there's so much that the internet will give you. There's more to be learned by doing.
Yeah.
We as a people, we talk a lot and we have highly intellectual conversations, and we will convince the world that the sky is red when it's obviously blue. Mm-hmm. We have that gift, but it's not enough to talk. We need to put all this talk into action. So I would say, act.
Okay. Do something.
Yeah, I like I said, we always, we've done a lot of videos on different stuff. Sometimes we go places so you guys can see. There's much, much more here, but your journey, believe it or not, it started with a phone call. We talked to you on the phone, and then we hashed it out to find out what's best for you, and then now you're here. But at this point, you're coming to an end, mm-hmm. and so. And I think you said you leave tomorrow, right?
Day after tomorrow.
The day after tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tell me how you're feeling now, knowing that you're leaving the Republic of South Africa.
Well, I don't want to leave. It's as simple as that. I really don't want to leave. But of course, my T's are not crossed and my I's are not dotted. So I need to go back to establish the proper structure. I love South Africa. I love the people. Mad respect.
And you like the beef.
And you can get a proper steak here, people. It stay good.
I love
stay good. But I really love it here. I can see a future here. And you know what? All good things take time. All good things take time. So I would also say, you know what? Don't be disheartened. Don't be discouraged if you think maybe you don't have the money to travel, or you don't have the strength, the will, whatever it might be, the motivation. Just plant that seed and start somewhere. Start saving your pennies.
Yeah.
Mark and Natasha have a payment plan. Just do it right, and you'll enjoy it if you do it right.
Yeah.
If you don't do it right, it may be a little chaotic, but
yeah. I hate to bring that part up, but actually you brought it up. But there are those who they ultimately don't. I was telling Tasha, I said, as Black people, do we really know how to travel? First of all, we generally don't get marketed to. We see what, that are there for white people, and we just try to get in, or we want to go somewhere and we just like, well, let me just book a hotel and I just figure it out when I get there. And I've been accused of that many years ago. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate now being able to have everything sorted when I go somewhere.
You want to be sorted. I was going to try and find another word, but I think that's
the best way I can think of.
You want to be sorted. You don't want to have to worry. You don't want to have to figure it out when you get there. And I tell people all the time, we've talked about this before, this is not a place where you want to figure it out.
Yeah, because imagine if you would have said, okay, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I know this happened hundreds of times on our watch, where somebody says, okay, well, I've already got my place booked. I'm going to some Airbnb, and then they don't know where it is. They don't know. They have no clue. It could be they don't know, right? It could be in Brits. Right, and they're like, oh, but it's labeled Johannesburg, but it's in Brits, and it looks, that's 30 minutes outside the city, if not more. And now all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm going here, and they're well, I'm booked, and I'm like, well, maybe nope, I'm okay, fine, and then they end up saying, well, I don't, I'm just going to do my own thing, and then they're here, and they're like,
I don't know what to
I would say that for your first trip,
at least
a professional, Mark and Natasha are professionals. I don't know any other professionals who do this, but maybe book through a proper travel agency. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But the point is, for your first trip, try and make the investment, make the sacrifice if you have to do it right. So at your second and your third trip, you can be a little more familiar with the lay of the land.
And that's what happens.
Yeah.
And you said travel agencies. To be perfectly honest with you, we've done you talking about research. Okay, that's what I do. I got this. So what happens is, when you go, let's say you're in the U.S., let's say you called your friend who, I'm a travel agent, or you walk into a proper wagon lid or Carson wagon lid or one of those big boys. If you're trying to go anywhere else in the world, they got you.
Yes.
But they don't have the service because they're in the States if something goes wrong, and then you're 16 hours away or 5 hours away, and they're sleeping and things going wrong. What do you do? But that's not the point. The point I'm making is they don't have a catalog of things that they can actually do. They don't have the relationships. They just don't have it.
Right.
And so especially South Africa, they just don't have it. So we know we outclass pretty much everyone.
I think I can attest to that because I asked Mark earlier if he'd been to Namibia as of yet, and he said no, because there's so much to do in South Africa. And to be honest, I can tell you that it's such a vast country, and there's so many things to do. Like Johannesburg is just the tip of the iceberg. You've got Cape Town, you've got Durban.
Oh, we got Port Elizabeth. You got,
and then in between all of that, you've got all these
East Londons and you got
and then
the
of course the
Johannesburg.
restaurants.
You got the Kalahari, which is it's the Eastern Cape. It's a lot.
So much.
Yeah.
So yes, I agree with Mark. Contact someone who kind of knows the lay of the land so that they can give you a proper itinerary. They can organize structured events in a really timely fashion. Like so my trip wasn't a lot heavy on the activities. It was more on me kind of trying to strategize and decompress. But I can tell by how they've organized things that they put a lot of thought into saying, okay, let her do this day, then this that day, then that, because they kind of seamlessly flow. The activities flow.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you had access to things. You didn't have to be in Airbnb that you say $20 on a day, and then have to take that same $20 or $30 to get to an event, or better yet, get to a place where you can get some food.
Right.
I think you just kind of walked out. It didn't cost you a dime, and you can go anytime you want, stay as long as you want.
Exactly.
Wasn't worried about getting a ride back, because people don't realize that a lot some of these things aren't regulated to the level which they are in the States. So you're at your own risk when you jump in that Uber and you go off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So true.
Cool.
Thank you again for the compliment. I appreciate that. I really do make an effort to listen to what you say and try to deliver and over deliver on what it is that you want, what you want to accomplish. Sometimes it's impossible because people want to do way too much stuff in a very short period of time. But if you allow me to use my knowledge and the fact that I live here to your advantage, I promise that you will actually get what you're supposed to get out of your experience here. So thank you.
Yeah, hopefully next time when you
Bring the family back.
Or
Yes,
or
for
come
sure.
or just
Oh, yeah.
or you
Yeah.
need that little. I think you said it's kind of like a mental health break a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know when we get in our 50s, we need a. Well, at least I'm in my
Yeah.
50s. I'm not going to out her.
Yeah. You just need a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mine is coming. Is that what y'all telling her?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
okay. You'll be fine.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
See, she
Yeah.
pumps me up. She gives me.
She's my
she gives me-
sister
She gives me
now.
good stuff.
She's my
She gives me good
sister now.
stuff.
So yeah, I'm here for her, and she'll be fine.
Thank you.
We'll be fine.
Thank you. I'm gonna count on you for guidance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. So is there any,
I
is
need
there
that- I
any,
need
is
that
there
wisdom
anything
gap.
else? Is there anything else that you want to add to the collective? You know, obviously, you could you know, chat about how your experience was when you met other South Africans. Because that's the ones. Because and the only reason I bring that up is because people say this to us all the time. They're on the phone. I want to meet the locals and I want to talk to the locals. Like they want us to. They sound like they want us to go get some locals and then bring them over and then they can have a conversation with the locals. And I'm like, you must understand that we're going to actually put you in a position. If you don't talk,
That's your fault.
that's
It's
one
all
thing.
on you.
That's on you.
It's all on you, love.
But if you have a heartbeat or a pulse, you will have many conversations without even trying.
That is true.
Thank
That
you.
is true.
Thank you for saying that.
That is true because, okay, so my setup was kind of like so I had structured activities, but then I had time to myself. I had a self-contained unit. So I have my washing machine. I have my beautiful stove, beautiful little kitchen. It's so sweet. I wanted to bake. I wanted to move right in. I was like, yo.
I had to stay here.
And then now I got to pack my bags. Anywho's, on my downtime, and then of course with me trying to network with people in my profession to see what the possibilities are for practicing pharmacy here, I was able to meet the locals. So you go into the supermarket to buy a couple of loaves of bread or whatever you want to cook, you want to bake, whatever, you're going to meet a local.
You got no choice.
Yeah, you're not just going to say to the cashier, you're not just going to put your goods on her thingy and say, here's your money.
She's got to talk to you.
Yeah, you're going to say to her, my sister, how are you?
Yeah.
How are you doing, my love? Like, it's not hard to use words.
It's not hard to use
You
words.
all don't know. It's not hard to speak to a human being.
Yeah. But they expect you to talk to them. Unlike in the States, you can go a whole week
And not talk to anybody.
Well, that is true.
and never speak to one soul,
Yeah,
and they won't speak to you.
So don't do that when you come here.
Yeah.
Be kind. Be humble. Meet people where they stand. You're in the grocery checkout. You're with a cashier. Say hello.
Yeah.
Say thank you. Oh my, that bread's so expensive. And she'll be like, yes, it's expensive. And you start a little conversation. It's as simple as that. And then for me, going in to meet people within the pharmacy profession, because we have common ground, it was easy. So again, if you're going to come here with some kind of structure and some kind of idea that this is what my South Africa life could look like, then you try to meet people within that lifestyle, right? So I go in, I talk to a couple of pharmacists, and we talk about the differences between how you practice pharmacy here and in Canada or whatever it might be. It's easy. It's not
Too
hard
easy.
to talk to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
But the biggest thing, you couldn't have done that, and everything that you said, you couldn't have done that or any of that unless you literally got on the plane
Exactly.
and came here.
Yeah, and for people who say, oh, we want to meet locals with that kind of mindset of you handing them something on a platter, that's not the way it works. No. We're all adults. We're none of us children. And if you're going to make the effort to jump on a plane to come to South Africa or go to China or Russia or UK or whatever, that means you have an intention. So you need to live up to your intention. You need to do your part. It's a dance. It's a tango.
Yeah.
You know?
And so you stood out like crazy here, didn't you? You just stood out.
I did.
Yeah. I bet you did.
I did.
Erica.
Thank you, South Africa. I love you so much. It's been great. You guys are superb. I love ya.
Cool.
I do.
All right. Well, people, thank you for watching this video. Of course, subscribe to our channel. We would appreciate it. You'll get more content like this and more. And maybe when she comes back, she'll do another video.
An update.
All right, guys, we will see you later on. Thank you.
That's my sister.